Those YouTubers, and did you think this was the last you'd see of this American t-shirt? Hell no. I'm not done yet. I go to sleep at fucking 3 in the morning. Sometimes later, especially last night. It sounded like somebody was screaming outside. It freaked me out and I couldn't get to sleep. I fell asleep in this chair. Scared that somebody might be getting hurt. There was nothing I could do about it. Yeah, I could call the police, or I could be wrong, and then I call the police for no fucking reason. I overthink things way, way too much. But no, seriously, it sounded like somebody was screaming outside. It freaked me out. I got anxious and stuff. Yeah, I wanted to cry. I was like, what am I talking about? I'm here to talk about, what am I here to talk about? Let's talk about Sonic the Hedgehog, his fan base, and people who aren't fans of his series. Now, Sonic the Hedgehog, pretty cool guy. Cool games, right? Yeah. 2D games, some of the best games ever made. You'd agree, or at least some of the... Wow, excuse me, I'm sorry. But I don't do double takes. I already started rambling in that first part. Not stopping now. You could at least say some of the best platformers ever made, right? 2D ones. Why don't I touching my nose some more? Why don't I just stop? 3D might be kind of shaky. Some people say you should stick with 2D. But why was Sonic's transition to 3D? I'll leave that for another video. Well, no, I'm talking about his fans. Why? Because people can't accept change. That's fucking why. Did I just bleep out myself with that? That's fucking why. There we go. Because his transition to 3D was kind of rocky. Why? Because people didn't like change. There wasn't enough Sonic in there, which is weird because it became less, synonymous with the game and more with the character, which I kind of like because it made Sonic something special. I mean, Knuckles wasn't as fast as Sonic, but he was still pretty much the same, right? But Tails, oh fuck, Tails was an easy mode. Tails will forever be an easy mode until you get the Sonic Adventure 2 battle. But I'm not here to talk about that. Now its fans, there are old school fans, like Dreamcast. It's weird. It's Sonic Generations that's coming out, so there are the Genesis fans, the Dreamcast era fans, and the modern fans. That's hilarious. Because there are some people who say Sonic Unleashed gameplay was shit the whole way through. Like, even the day stages, and they hate it. When Sonic Colors came out, they were like, this is the best thing ever. I'm sorry, I can't believe I just the game perfectly describes their fan base. I just really thought about that for once, and it was amazing. But, I personally don't think Sonic games really have changed all that much. Like, the ones that at least focus on Sonic, and at least around the Sonic aspect of gameplay. Like, people who, Sonic 4, they complained about, oh, he has green eyes. That's stupid. Mario's changed, and for New Super Mario Brothers Wii, he had blue overalls when they were originally some other color. I think they were red in the 8-bit version. But, that's stupid, right? Who cares? Though, to be fair, it didn't promise the gameplay that it was going to promise us. And it's weird, because I was watching a review about it, and somebody in the comments said, you didn't talk about how it didn't have the same gameplay as the old one. Like, if you jump in the middle of the air and you stop moving, you just stop. And he was like, and he said, which got a lot of thumbs up, which I'm surprised is, I'm not a fan of the series, so I don't really know all of that technical stuff. So I just try to review the game the best way that I can. But I'm like, Isn't it that way for every fucking platformer ever made? You don't just jump in the air and stop. That's bad. And all of the old platformers were cursed for that. Even Mario. It's not, but like, he jumped. But with Mario, it's a lot harder to tell because he's going slower than Sonic, obviously. But you know, if you didn't hold all the way over, you were gonna hit the wall and you were gonna die, right? So that's just bad reviewing there. Um, that's just bad, really. So you know, it's not really all a fan's point of view. That's just bad gameplay, point blank. And it was a system um designed around boosting, which is stupid because you don't have that. It's like when he rolls into his ball, he should go all the way down the hill. He shouldn't just start slowing down. That's retarded. But you know, that's one thing. But and then ever since Sonic 06 came out, have you noticed like a real trend with all the reviews of Sonic games, like, you know, that aren't done by pompous jackasses? Like Sonic, like I was watching this run review by Classic Game Room Underground, and he was like, I can't remember when Sonic's ever had a good transition to 3D. And here's the game that we've all been waiting for, Sonic 4 Episode 1. And I'm like, his 3D track record was pretty fucking awesome. All of his games from Sonic Adventure 1 to 2 at least got an 8. Sonic Heroes got a 7. In ratings around those areas, like from 9 to 7 for those three games. That was the general area about where it was. And his old games, they were up there. They just kind of stayed, except for like Sonic 3D Flicky Island. I'll get to that one after I'm done with this topic. But it's like after 06, people started trying to find faults in games that weren't there. Like, let's take Sonic Adventure. Now, the original game on IGN, even though IGN is a shit place, but let's talk about it anyway. At least for reviews. They have other good articles, but for reviews, they fucking suck. But, the original got like an 8. No, Adventure. I think the original got like a 7 or something. It was pretty high up there. It was like an 8, 9, or 7, something. I hate 10-point scales, you know that. But, when it ported, it got a, let's say a 4, because it was like a, I'm sorry again. Excuse me. It got like a 4, 3.6. And I'm like, how do you go from 8 to 3.6? That's stupid. Now, part of that review was about the graphics. They haven't aged well. And I'm like, what fucking game hasn't aged well since that time? Which is weird, because Mario 64 on the Wii got an 8 for the graphics, because it said it was just as sharp and clear as ever, and and the Wii made it look nice and vibrant. And I'm like, that person knew what they were talking about. How come this person's a dipshit? No shit, the graphics aren't good. It's old school it's old 3D graphics. They don't look all that great nowadays. But I mean, graphically, the colors look nice. It had nice textures. Other than the polygons, it looked pretty good. And it's like they got more critical about all of the stuff in there. And it didn't seem like it was a review from the way of a port, because I will review a port a lot more harsher than the original release, because it's a port. Again, if it's just a normal port, if they're just saying they're porting the game, it gets an automatic 3 if it's from a great game. But if they're going to try to add extra stuff, I'm going to see if that extra stuff measures up for me to make that score higher. Like, I mean, you already have the game, but is this something I'm going to say, well, no, for a port, I'll almost never say buy it over the original, if you own it at least, if you own it. But if it's between buying the original and buying the port, then maybe. But a port will probably never, ever get better scores than the original. That's just how ports work. But it didn't seem like they were reviewing it as a port, but they were reviewing it as the game itself, and they were complaining about, like, bottomless holes, which it had. It had some. Not a lot, but it had some. There's a notorious one on the first Sonic stage where it's like if you hug the wall to the right, you'll fall down and die. Just hug the wall to the left next time. Quit being a pansy and go. Bad camera controls, but here's the thing about the Sonic camera. Once you like go through the game, it's kind of easy to understand how the camera reacts and how what you would do would affect it. I think people get got too much up on how easy things can be done the first time. Because it's like the first time you're playing a game. Yes, some things may be cheap, and committing things to memory now may be a little less cheap, but you have a save system in your games. So, in fact, I think some games could be considered to be even harder now because you can save back then. They start you like you got a game over. Start you at like the beginning. This works out more better as a gaming video. Shit, what am I doing? But anyway, Sonic. But throughout the Sonic game, it's easy to figure out how a camera will react. And if you watch any good person play a game, it doesn't look like they have any camera problems at all. And they say there's a bunch of leaps of death. And I'm like, you can't address this in the first game? I'm like, people knew of the camera limitations then and they accepted it, but they don't accept it now. That's the thing. I don't get. I really should have done this in my gaming video, but I don't get game aging at all. Because bad controls are bad controls. Bad cameras are bad cameras. Bad music is bad music. And you know what? Sonic series get a bunch of shit for their music, especially from people like Screw Attack, which is weird. I'm making way too many drops in these videos, but I've been surfing the web. But like Screw Attack is like when they reviewed Sonic Colors, like it doesn't have those stupid rock lyrical sounds this time, old cheesy stuff, and I'm like, most of the tracks are things that you would hear from old Sonic games, and the only ones where you get any real lyrics, like people singing over the songs, are character themes, which come at the end of the game in the credits, which is something most people don't like to watch. And the fact that they put those in there makes people gives a good incentive to watch those credits because you want to hear that cool song. So I don't see what their problem is. Sonic songs have always been great. That's the number one things fans can get with, but people who aren't fans of the series tend to hate them, and they'll say it's a guilty pleasure, but no, they're actually really good songs. I'd rather listen to a Sonic song than anything that's thrown out there nowadays. But it's like, come on, if something's, again, I don't get that about game aging, because if it's bad then, it's bad now, and it will always be bad, and if it's good then, it's good now, and it will always be good. Right? Right? Well, okay, no, that's stupid. Things do change. But you gotta think about, you can't just hold everything up to today's standards. Okay? Those old games are, I completely lost track because I honestly don't get game aging. Personally, I think if a game's fun, that's all it needs to be. And Sonic non-fans, they'll always do that cliched until like after the game after Sonic Colors, the game that comes after the game that comes after Sonic Colors. I mean, not Colors, but Sonic Generations, because Sonic Generations is again just a big nostalgia orgasm. So the game after that, and the game after that, and then the game after that, that's when people, if they're any good, that's when people will probably stop saying that same BS about Sonic's been having a rocky. Sonic's never been good in 3D after a bunch of shit Sonic games. Because again, that only really started after 06. Before 06, people were just like, oh, Sonic. Well, maybe Shadow. Maybe. But that's only then. And you know what? The only people who really bitched about Heroes were, the fans. And it's like, it's not classic Sonic gameplay. And I'm like, you're going fast, aren't you? Yeah. But I have to switch between all these other people. And I'm like, did that really slow you down? Did it really? A little bit. A little bit. Anyway. Fans and non-fans of Sonic, again, there are a bunch of people who don't really understand, but you know, I'm done. Matao.